When I think of Luke, one word comes to mind: fun.
Just crazy. Something's always going to be happening when you see him. When something's going down, there's Luke.
When I think of Luke, I think of creative. He's very creative in everything he does. Luke has been such a massive part of my life. Being his younger brother, I sort of looked up to him.
When I think of Luke, I think of a crazy, fun-loving, energetic guy, and he's really cool to talk to, and it's just so much fun to be around.
Luke's always one who's got such joy and happiness and just full of life, and I guess, yeah, end of last year not seeing that was pretty hard.
When the accident happened and we all heard about it, it was such an emotional night. I think there was a lot of people up the whole night and just hit everyone so hard. And afterwards there was just so much uncertainty about what he'd be like. I mean, who knew what was going to happen?
But the accident really put a stop to everything. And yeah, it was really hard because we were planning on going to the Philippines, and so there was a lot going on with that. But then we had our mate Luke here in hospital as well, and so it was really hard. I remember, yeah, going there to where I found him on the road. He had blood coming out of his nose, he had blood coming out of his mouth, and later on they tell me that he had blood coming out of his eyes. And when I found him, he had blood coming out of his ears. And it was so hard to see my mate in that situation and to feel so helpless. We were out skating in Morisset, and we were sort of just finishing up there. We were just going to do a couple more runs. And then, yeah, just as we were coming down the hill one time, I saw Lukey just lying on the ground, and I didn't think it was going to be that serious. I thought he's just fallen off, or yeah, just sort of. I didn't think it was serious at all. And so when I was just jogging back up to see if he was all right, all the boys were already around him and had him in the recovery position and stuff, and he was out. And I knew like it was serious straight away.
Afterwards, everything kind of stopped, and there was just this dull, especially in the hallways and everything like that. There was just this nothingness, this void of what used to be there's not anymore, and it was real, yeah, odd.
Who knows what happened? Like, still to this day we have no idea. And he came off his board and like, he was just there on the ground, lying there, just it was close to death, and seeing that is not something you want to see. And Joel had to go in the ambulance, and Tyson and I took a car and followed the ambulance down the highway. That has to be the longest drive of my life. It was only half an hour, but it felt like days. It was so intense. But even in those moments, just those intense moments, I remember feeling just so helpless, and I was really thankful for those times because I was there with my mate Tice, and I remember just sitting there with him driving down the freeway, and we were just praying to God, not knowing whether Luke was going to be alright, not knowing what was going to go on with Joel. We really didn't know the full severity of the situation. We found out later on that night that Luke should have died.
It was the hardest thing I've ever gone through, hey? Just being on the phone with Dad on the way to the hospital, and then right through the whole time Luke was in a coma and stuff. Yeah, just the unknown sort of outcome. We didn't know what was going to happen, and that just made it so much harder. There was nothing we could do. It was sort of in God's hands, and the first day, the morning after the accident was the toughest time for me.
You can't fix something that's broken at that stage, and I don't know, that was really hard. I was just feeling kind of like frustrated more than anything because we can't do anything to make him better.
It really makes you think and reflect on what's really important in life.
in the first 3 days there's still uncertainty of whether Luke was going to live or not, but once again God was such an amazing God, and through all this God just kept healing one step at a time, and just each day was just an improvement.
It's kind of still surreal, but to see the progress that God has worked in Luke's life and how far he's come since then is just amazing. Just seeing, every few weeks that I saw him, just how much God has worked in his life, it's amazing.
When I look back, and just think about how serious things were, to where things are now, you can't help but just thank God for not only his life, but the speed of his recovery, and the fact that he's back at college this semester. It's just he's a walking miracle, and it just shows how awesome our God is.
Now that Luke's back at college and with us again, it just makes you feel ecstatic. It's so good to see him around, and it just makes me happy.
I don't know, I just knew that he was going to be alright. It was just going to take a long time, and getting back to college now and seeing him here just blew me away. I just overjoyed, just couldn't believe it, and just so ecstatic to see him.
It makes you really look at life and how much we should value life and how fragile it is, and it just makes me think and want to just tell the people I love how much I love them and how much they mean to me.
Life is valuable. You have no idea when it's going to end, what hiccups are going to happen along the way. I guess each day now I'm thankful for life, thankful for Luke's life, thankful for friends and support, and I'm just glad that the strength and the friendship that we had there on that night was amazing, and that we could support each other and push through this event, and that together we could support each other with God, and God could just be with us and work through that situation.
Words can't explain how excited and stoked I am that Luke is not only back, but he's alive. The whole thing makes you stop and think, and just sort of realise how fragile life is, and makes you not take it for granted.
And so it's just great to come back to this campus and to just know that God is in control and God is taking care of our problems. Because I know being here at college we have a lot of problems, and there's always assessments and stuff due, and we really don't know what's going to happen, but we know that God is in control. And I just love that feeling of knowing that he's here and he's going to take care of us.
G'day, I'm Luke, and I cannot thank God enough that I'm still here. It's unbelievable. The fact that I am still here is only because of him, and I cannot thank him enough.